Today I have another anniversary review for you. It's the album State of Euphoria by the band Anthrax, released on September 19th, 1988 through Megaforce Island Records. I remember this very well. I still have the CD I bought when I was about 17 years old. It was an album I enjoyed a lot, and I'm going to give you some information on the album. Some of the songs, how they were inspired by different movies and current events happening in the late 80s. I'm going to talk about artwork and a lot of other stuff, so let's get into it. I remember when this album came out, I got mixed reviews, and I remember reading some metal magazines, which I used to buy a lot. I remember people saying that they didn't like this album because it was kind of a happy album. I guess you can call it that, but I've always thought it was pretty good. This was actually a big day for rock and metal. The two other albums released on this day were Bon Jovi's New Jersey and Kick's Blow My Fuse. I considered doing reviews for those, but I went with this one. This album had a pretty big tour. They opened for Iron Maiden on the 7th tour, and they also opened for Ozzy Osbourne on the No Rest for the Wicked tour. That's another album that came out around the same time. Hopefully I'll get a chance to review that again. And they opened for Metallica on the Damaged Justice tour, and that's for Injustice for All, obviously. And keep in mind that 1988 was one of the best years in metal. Some of those classic albums I just mentioned right there, they're like awesome. They still hold up today. The album cover is pretty cool. It reminded me of that Alfred Hitchcock movie, Vertigo, with that spiraling image in the intro on the cover. And on the back cover, you see a picture drawn by Morton Drucker, who is the artist for Mad Magazine, which you will notice it's a similar style. I'll show you an image on the screen because it's better than what you can see on my CD. So here it is right here. The opening track is Biolendo, and this starts with a cello player. Her name is Carol Friedman playing this riff, not the person in the video, obviously. This is one of the first guitar riffs I learned on a guitar because I used to buy these guitar magazines with the tablature, and this song was featured. It's actually Guitar World actually found this online. Here's the cover of it. It's pretty cool. It was one string. I remember the feeling of being able to create this song on a guitar. The song's about 6 minutes long. It's fast and heavy thrash metal, and the song also addresses the topic of suicide, so I've always thought that was a good album opener. Next is Out of Sight, Out of Mind. This is another heavy thrasher. This one's about bands that steal riffs or music in general from other artists. They don't care about it. This is probably one of the heavier songs on the album. It has traditional thrash metal sound. There are some pretty fast drum beats by Charlie Benanti, and overall, it's a very good song. Make Me Laugh is next, and this one is about Jim and Tammy Faye Baker. They were televangelists. They were very popular in the late 80s, and many metal bands wrote songs about them. If you don't know, they were involved in a lot of scandals involving sex and money. They divorced when Jim Baker was convicted. He made about $158 million from his followers, and his wife was actually never convicted. They were on a news story and such, and like the clip I'm showing you here. The song is very good. It has some slower sections as well as some heavier parts with some machine gun riffing. The next song was a single called Antisocial. This was a cover song by the band Trust. The original song was actually in French, something I didn't know for a long time. I discovered that not too long ago. I learned it a few years ago, and it was a pretty good song. I've never been a big fan of their covers, but I think this one is actually pretty good. When I re-listened to the album, I actually enjoyed this one again. The original music by Trust was released in 1980. It was popular on the radio, which was uncommon for hard rock songs at that time in France. And the next song is Who Cares Wins. I remember there was a music video for this one. It's about the homeless, and you can see in the images all this. They show Skid Row. And that was a topic that was very common in the news from the late 80s. It's one of the longer songs, about 7.5 minutes. It's like one of their darker songs, which was different than many other songs, considering that, as I mentioned before, this was more of a happy album, and in general, this band wrote happy songs. They started getting serious after this album. I'll probably review that at some point. You could probably call this a thrash metal ballad. It had that same type of style. It reminded me of Badlands from Metal Church, where they started with the clean guitars and they build it up to the heavier ones. So that was side one of the album. If you had it on cassette or vinyl, there are 5 more songs in the album. Track 6 is called Now It's Dark. This was a song inspired by a movie at the time called Blue Velvet, directed by David Lynch. So the woman in the thumb title is from that movie, by the way. The movie starred Dennis Hopper about a sociopath whose name was Frank Booth. I don't think I ever watched this movie. Maybe I did. Let me know in the comments if it's any good. I don't really remember it that much. Song is a thrasher. Also, one of those songs where Joey Belladonna has some pretty good vocals. Has a catchy chorus with Scott Ian doing some background vocals as well. Next is the song Schism. This is an anti-racism song. Another topic that was very prevalent in the 80s. They talk about racism or being prejudiced against others and just living your life without hating others. The band Anthrax was always like a very uplifting and motivational type of band. Song opens with an awesome drum intro by Charlie Benante. The song has some heavy thrash metal style guitars, riffs, and as always, Joey Belladonna gives a great vocal performance. Misery Loves Company is about the Stephen King book called Misery. Keep in mind, this was 1988. The movie had not been released yet. It came out 2 years later in 1990. Another heavy thrash metal song, very reminiscent of the previous two albums. But they also have some unique vocal styles used by Joey Belladonna, where he does this strange, kind of like a whispering type of sounds in the vocals. I think you have to listen to the song yourself to know what I'm talking about. This is followed by a short instrumental called 13. It's under 1 minute long. It's kind of strange, like guitar riffs, a fast drum beat, some chanting. And that's really how I describe it. The last song on the album was called Finally. It's another heavy song. They use echo effects in the opening guitar riff. I think it's one of their songs where that New York hardcore influence comes out, and also one of those songs where the lyrics are kind of like tongue-in-cheek. One of the lines is I drink 3 6-packs just so I can look at your face. It's that type of song. The song is about being in a relationship and you're with the wrong person, but you stay together and you basically don't like the other person. That's what it's about in a nutshell. Anthrax have always said they would not write love songs, but this was kind of, an exception to the rule. That is all. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you like this album? Do you not like it? It's always been a divisive album, so I've seen some people ranking it high, others ranking it low. Let me know your thoughts in it. And